Today we're talking about the 2022 film by Riley Stearns called Duel, and I've been actually looking forward to watching this film for quite some time. I know it was at Sundance, and from just people that I know who watched a bunch of Sundance films, they had really good things to say about it. And just reading the log line and the short synopsis here on Letterboxd, it just really got me interested. I know I'm a big sci-fi guy. I didn't actually know it was a comedy going in, but it's very much just a dark comedy. I probably should have known that from hearing that it was Riley Stearns. I know I have not seen The Art of Self-Defense, but from the trailer, I've seen the Art of Self-Defense trailer, and I definitely understand the vibe of that movie. And yeah, not having seen this trailer, I didn't know what to expect really, and I was pleasantly surprised in how different it was than I thought it was going to be. I think the biggest thing was I thought that the world that he was going to create was going to be more logical, whereas these whole scenarios are still very interesting and work well, but the whole world that they were building is just complete nonsense and not realistic, in the sense that if people are going to be killing their own clones, then it's not going to be televised. And I'm not more talking about the way that people talk. I'm just talking about the way that the actual universe, the society is structured. It's just so far-fetched and wouldn't actually happen. It's kind of like I have slight weird feelings toward Midsummer just because of how absurd it amps it up. Because I know things like that definitely happen, like Midsummer. Those festivals did happen and everything. But just the absurdity and me telling the characters just get out of there. Just leave. And they feel like they follow a different set of rules in just the world. Maybe that's not the greatest connection, but yeah, that's what I mean is the world, everyone talks in this weird way. Everyone has they don't have these preconceptions. They just live in a world and they accept that this world has this cloning procedure and that it's fine that they're killing each other. They're entertained by this killing. Their emotions are just more held back. The only times we see anybody display emotion is when she's in her car, either just crying for 10 seconds or yelling at the end. I mean, I guess displaying emotion, maybe kissing her partner, but that didn't really feel that was more of a plot point of the clone trying to prove that she loved him more than her. That was a bunch of just random plot points from the movie. So if you have not seen the movie, let me do a quick spoiler-free thing about this film. Because, I don't think what I said really gave away too much, because if you've seen the trailer, everything that I spouted, you could probably infer. So I won't get into very specific just layout of the entire synopsis. I'll just go over a few things that I liked and maybe didn't like of this movie so far. But, it was at Sundance this year, and I heard a lot of good things about it. And so going in, I didn't know what to expect. And I think that if you go into this movie, I say with most movies, don't watch the trailer. I don't think watching the trailer will help. It might get you into the vibe of the movie and how everybody talks in the movie, but I think it's pretty entertaining to let the plot points unveil themselves naturally. I think what you're getting into is it's a quick movie. It's not too long. I believe it's just an hour 34, something like that, and I really like that. But I was drawn into it because it was a science fiction premise, and I really like science fiction movies that are grounded in reality. That's my favorite type of genre, where it can expand on actual human emotions and just use the science fiction element to expand on that. And this one is kind of grounded in reality, but the world that they're in is very obscure and very, just the tone deaf black humor. If you've seen Art of Self-Defense, I'm sure it's a very similar kind of just acting and writing style. A lot of people are comparing it to Yorgos Lanthimos films, where they kind of just say things matter-of-factly, very just blankly. And I have an interesting relationship with those kind of films. And I think it definitely did work here, because it does just get straight to the point. They say exactly what they're feeling. And I think trying to analyze this movie too much on a psychological level isn't really the way to go about it. I think it's kind of just a ride that you have to go through and enjoy the dark humor. Just accept that it's not really in a reality, but you're just following this person who's given this horrible deck of cards with the events that have just unfolded. The performances are really good for what they are. Again, it is this strange blank acting style, but Karen Gillan, I think she does it just so well. And yeah, I could almost picture it before I watched it, what her performance was going to be like. And yeah, she was great. I think Aaron Paul was a bit underutilized. I think his moments were really, really fun when they're training together. He's really great in it. Just his deadpan as well is really good. Then we have her boyfriend. He was kind of like, he felt more lighthearted for some reason. The way he blankly just tells her, the way he just blankly talks to her is so demeaning and self-righteous, but like in a clueless way, just because of how the performances work in this movie, that it's pretty entertaining, honestly. But yeah. And so also in this movie, there's Theo James at the very beginning of the movie, where it's just setting up the whole premise of the movie that he's fighting his own clone. And yeah, that was funny because I just remember him from Divergent. I don't know why I've seen Divergent as many times as I have. It was probably just when I was a kid. It was just on TV and I just put it on. Alas. We're not talking about Divergent, but yeah, I would highly recommend this film though, just because of how different it is, and the sci-fi elements are pretty fun. It's fun to live in that world for just a little bit, but I don't think it's anything like too deep beyond surface level, but it's just fun to see this different style of filmmaking. And I think that the ending is slightly more thought-provoking. I think I really do like this style of ending. It's not really the most unpredictable thing, but I think it fits well with the just dryness of the entire movie, how the movie ended. And that's also all I'll say for the spoiler-free stuff. But yeah, I would definitely still recommend it. It's definitely a different movie, a unique movie. And yeah, Riley Stearns is a unique voice. So I'm really happy to see that this movie was made and that it's getting a decent amount of praise. So yeah, that's awesome. So a bit more into spoiler territory. We'll go a bit here. I'll keep this one pretty short because, again, I think that movies like this, like I just said, I didn't really feel like I had to analyze the movie too deeply because everything is so matter of fact. That's just how it's written. That's how it's performed. Nothing has to really delved in too deep. It is what it is, and I enjoyed it for what it is. But going into a bit of the sci-fi stuff, because I, of course, do like talking about the sci-fi stuff. Going in, I thought they were going to, like, maybe hide the fact that there was a cloning thing, that it was a surprise that they were getting cloned when they think they're going to die or something like that. But no, the first scene was just like, yep, clones exist. They have duels sometimes. That's what it is. And I thought the movie was going to reveal a bit of that. But no, it kind of stated what it is. But I guess I probably should have expected that. It's just in this log line right here on Letterboxd anyway. But yeah, I think it subverted my expectations in that way because, yeah, it kind of just set up, yeah, this is a matter of fact. We're not going to lie to you. This movie's not going to lie to you. It's just going to be like, yeah, everything is displayed exactly how it is. We're not going to, like, withhold too much information. Even at the end, when we're supposed to kind of question if it's the doppelganger who really came back or anything like that, it's presented in a very, like, simplistic way for everybody to easily infer. It's meant for the audience to know exactly what happened, but kind of subtly use the classic film language of, oh, did that really happen? Because we showed it off screen, but we're pretty much 100% certain. And I think that's funny that it really sticks with that, even while it's dealing with those typical subverting film tropes that, in a way, it doesn't subvert itself because it's so matter of fact and tells us exactly what to think the entire time. Does that make sense? I don't know. It makes sense to me. So, a few other things about this film. I really did like just the cloning idea. I just think the idea in general. I'm a huge fan of this genre that I've created in my mind, which is kind of a subgenre of sci-fi called cool idea. And yeah, it's just definitely a unique world. And I like movies about doppelgangers, apparently. There's a doppelganger movie by Kiyoshi Kurosawa called Doppelganger. Love that. Enemy by Denis Villeneuve. Love that. So yeah, I don't know. It was an original idea. I liked it. So I'm trying to think if there's any like specific moments that really stood out to me. I did actually watch this movie about a week and a half ago, so it's not too fresh in my mind, unfortunately. I usually try to watch them closer to when I actually stream them, but I had a very busy couple weeks. But yeah, I think that in the beginning, when she was diagnosed with whatever terminal illness, they were just like, yeah, you have a terminal illness. It really sucks. You're going to die. It's like 99% certain. It's 100% certain, but, you know, there's always margin for error, but it's like definitely certain you're going to die. I thought that was a fun bit, but I think most of the movie, it is about like literally her trying to kill this doppelganger and like having that threat of the doppelganger killing her. But it didn't feel very serious. You didn't really get like terribly attached to the characters. But I think the thing that made me the most emotional, not emotional, just the thing that made me feel the most is movies that deal with just like death and illness as a subject matter. I feel like are always just something that feels very icky to me because it's just scary. And yeah, at the beginning, I think with the matter of factness of how the movie is played, her just like coughing up blood on her bed and things like that, that actually, that really did impact me in that moment. So I think there's something to say for having the matter of factness of this story. And yeah, illness and things like that, terminal illnesses, they just come up sometimes and it's nothing you can do about it. And that kind of fits along with the vibe of everything is just how it is, plain and simple. Nobody's lying to you. And yeah, I feel like illness is just something that's just like tied into that I think it works very well having those two, that plot point and the elements of the film combined. Because yeah, that definitely impacted me the most. I think that going back to the ending, I was like vaguely talking about the ending in my spoiler-free talk a bit there, but I really do like the ending. I didn't know if it was going to try to be clever with having the doppelganger actually get bested by the main girl, which I thought was what was going to happen. But like I said before, it was very matter of fact, wink, wink, that, yeah, it is exactly what happened. The doppelganger did kill the main girl, put in some contacts. And if we're trying to think about this movie a little more in depth, and the ending of her doppelganger now living as the real Sarah, and she's driving down the circle. Oh, we barely have these in Canada. What's it called? The roundabout. That was embarrassing. She's driving through that, and she's not a very good driver. She never learned how to drive. It was established earlier. And then she just starts crying. And my interpretation of that was like, okay, she finally killed the original, and now she has to live her life. And it kind of got foreshadowed maybe in that support group where everybody, no matter what, if they were the doppelganger, if they were the original, they were both like having to deal with the fact that they had to kill somebody. And yeah, I think that was the thing that affected her most, as well as that she hadn't lived that life for very long and she was kind of just getting used to everything. And now she's just realizing how sad of a life she had in general. And I think if the original would have won the duel, that would be like a life event that would have kind of like sparked her life again, reignited everything, gave her more passion, more drive to try to figure things out because she had this near-death experience. But the doppelganger never really had a near-death experience at all, and they didn't have the entire context of her previous life building up to this point. She never hit the lows that Sarah actually hit. And so it was kind of just hitting her in that moment while she was driving the car, being like, dang, this life kind of does suck. And now she's going to go through what Sarah was going through, her like just depressed phase where, yeah, her boyfriend is kind of just blankly going on rants and she's not sure if she loves him that much. He's very out of her life, going out with friends. And then her mom is very nosy and everything. And now that's just going to be on her, something that she hasn't experienced anymore as the now new Sarah. So I did like the ending. I liked it quite a bit. Like I said before, the very matter-of-factness of how everything's happening. And seeing that little bit of emotion with the characters at the very end. Yeah, I feel like that's mostly what I wanted to say about this movie. I see here that the budget for the film was about $4.4 million, which is honestly more than I would have thought. I guess it does have some big-name actors, and I guess Riley Stearns is kind of an up-and-comer and everything. But the set pieces weren't really very extravagant, and like most of the locations felt pretty laid back. But I mean, yeah, I guess it does have some big names in there. But in the actual gross worldwide, it only made about $425,000 is what it says here on IMDb. But I don't know if I ever saw it in theaters. I don't, like where I am, I don't remember it being anywhere in theaters at all. I just remember people seeing it at Sundance. Now it's on some streaming things, and that's it. So, yeah. I don't know how well it would have done if it did go to theaters, because yeah, I just don't think this is like a general population, movie going population type of movie. Definitely is my type of movie, but yeah, hopefully it can kind of recoup some of that budget because I really did like it a lot. And maybe it's still doing festivals and stuff like that. I don't really know what its state is at the moment. Maybe I should have looked that up before this, but yeah, it is a 2022 release, so it still has time and everything. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I'm going to say about Duel. I quite enjoyed it. It was a good time, and that is what it is, as a matter of fact. All right, so next week I'll talk about Prey. Because, yeah, another 2022 release. I think it came out, 2 weeks ago? I've seen Predator. I've seen the original Predator as well as Predator, I think 2017, 2018? It was at TIFF for some reason, the 2017 or 18 one. And it wasn't that great. But I've actually heard quite good things about this one. So, hey, I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't really a big fan of the original too much. It was all right, but yeah, so we'll see how this one goes. Dan Track. Oh, he directed 10 Cloverfield Lane. I love 10 Cloverfield Lane. All right, that got me more excited for it. I love 10 Cloverfield Lane.